TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Welcome to the Age of Jeremy. I'm the leader when it comes to the advice with business content creation, software, taxes, investment, education, and all the hobbies that I enjoy. My name is Jeremy Quintanilla. I'm the CEO of Age of Radio and the CFO of 3T Warrior Academy, both businesses I co-founded. I share with you on this podcast all of the things that I do in my life and in my business. So hopefully it can provide some insight or wisdom to you, and you can take that and then use it how you want to use it. I also have a YouTube channel. It's called The Age of Jeremy. Shorts come out a few times a week, and the longer videos, like 8 to 15 minutes, they come out every other Thursday at around 5 p.m. And that started on July 7th. So if you want to head on over to Age of Jeremy on YouTube, there are some videos there that you can check out. I also post every day on TikTok at Age of Jeremy, Instagram at Age of Jeremy, and on Twitter at Age of Jeremy Q. If you want to reach out to me, you can hit me up on Snapchat at Age of Jeremy as well, or you can drop me a DM. But I do want to make it clear that I will never DM you first. We have a lot of scammers out there for both myself and my business partner, CJV. So if we reach out to you, it's probably not us unless we're friends and you know that it's me. But for right now, I would just say DM me if you want to get hold of me, or hit me up on WhatsApp or on my phone number if you are a friend. And you have that information. I also have a Twitch channel. It's at Age of Jeremy. I don't currently have a schedule for this, but I will eventually. You can be notified when I'm live on Twitch by subscribing to my Twitter, which again is Age of Jeremy Q. And so you should definitely check that out. Again, I own a company called Age of Radio. We're a media company that offers a free podcast hosting platform, and the ability to join our podcast network is absolutely free. Go and check us out on the website at ageofradio.org to find out more. And also, we're trying to build the largest tribe for content creators and people that want to share their projects, whether it's on video or podcast or whatever it is that they're going on. We do that it's a Facebook group that you can join. It's called Addicted to Podcasting. Make sure that you go over there. And from there, you can also get our link to our Discord. We have a Discord, an Age of Radio Discord. You can join it right now if you go to the Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group. And once you join our Discord server, when we get up to 50 members, we're going to be giving away a $50 digital gift card. So we're really focused on getting people in there, getting people engaged, and having a really good time. Again, as I mentioned, I own a company called 3T Warrior Academy, where I'm the chief finance officer for. I own it with my business partner, Coach JV, who goes by CJV. You can check him out on TikTok at CoachJV_. And reminder, he will definitely never DM you, even if you're his friend. He will not talk that way because we have too many scammers. And there's a link to our free 3T Warrior Academy Discord in the episode description. I'm really focused on building my Q Financial business along with my Age of Radio business. And if you want bookkeeping or tax advice, please reach out to me at jeremy.quintanilla@qfinancialllc.com. Again, the email is in the episode description, so you don't have to remember that. You can also check out our website, qfinancialllc.com. And so I think that's it. So let's get this show on the road. My name is Jeremy Quintanilla. You are listening to Age of Jeremy. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm the co-founder of Age of Radio and 3T Fitness, and, other businesses that I am working on. This podcast is about everything that I learn and the trials and tribulations it took to learn them. I hope you enjoy. There are a few things that I want to talk about today. First off, I'm back from Connecticut. I was visiting a business partner there for a lot of stuff that you will be hearing more about here in the future. So I want to say that I really, really liked New England a lot more than I thought. And I found out what encompasses New England, but I already forgot it. But I know it doesn't encompass New York and Delaware, or what's considered the tri-state area. So I think it's Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. And I think that makes up New England. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Vermont, missing Vermont. And what was great was because we were so close to Rhode Island, I also got to go visit Rhode Island while we were there. Had a blast out into the water. Something happened and I broke out in shingles. It's all up my leg. When I got back, I got a sty in my eye. My eye was the size of a golf ball for a little bit. And then the shingles is still there. It's going away slowly but surely. And then I decided to see what I could max bench press yesterday, which was ridiculous. And yesterday would have been August 13th. Not sure when you're listening to this. You're probably listening to this hopefully on the 16th of August. So this is being recorded on the 14th of August. And so I hurt my back. So I am dealing with that, but I will be okay. So I don't know why I decided to see what I can max bench press. It wasn't even worth it or a lot. But I just wanted to see what it was so I could get a better grip on what I was going to be benching normally, because you want to do like 70 to 90% of your max so that you're building the muscle anyway. So I wanted to see exactly what the max was now, since I've been lifting weights for most of this year and, really enjoy it. So that being said, I wanted to talk today about a few things. I haven't really decided. I was thinking about putting news back in these podcasts, but I'm up in the air on it because I don't want people to get stuck thinking that they have to, that they're not going to listen to this or they're going to skip part of that news. Because if you listen, a lot of people listen to this podcast way after the podcast, has been done. So like I have ads running on it. So I'll get some big jumps on some of the ads that we currently have. Or I'm sorry, I'll get a big jump on some of the current videos, right? Or most recent podcasts. And then what'll happen is they'll go and listen to other ones. And so a lot of the old ones have good numbers and there's all that news in there. And I'm thinking to myself, does anybody want to sit through that? I mean, it would still be good if it's news that they don't know, but if the news isn't relevant, what do I put in? So I'm going back and forth on that because I'm trying to think of different segments to really get this podcast, continue to make the podcast better. Because you should always be striving to better yourself. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit today for a few moments. Then I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of getting good information. And so we'll talk about the first thing is you always want to focus on bettering yourself. And I think this is a current theme that I'm hearing a lot in the Coach JV podcast, Motivation, Health, and Life. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. And I edited all the podcasts for that show today to get out this upcoming week. And that seemed to be the thing is, CJV is the most disciplined person that I have ever met. And so to see him be disciplined and focus on himself, on his goals, it's always been an inspiration to me. But then I'm looking at, I took on way too much stuff. So if you don't know, I own 3-2 Warrior Academy. I own Age of Radio. I own Collecti Labs. I own Blockheads, which is making an amazing app. I own Phoenix Crypto Assets. I want to get Q Financial going. And it's been kind of, the mind of an entrepreneur is always trying to solve problems and always trying to, I'm more focused on solving problems and making money. I'm not going to be against making money. Making money is awesome and making money is fun. And being able to make your own money is the most fascinating part of my life. But I'm more about solving the problem. So I get excited when I'm seeing a problem that I get solved. But then sometimes the money gets in front of me and I forget that, okay, do I really want to do this? It's going to make me money. But does it really solve a problem that I'm interested in solving? And there becomes the problem. And so I took on way too many things. So I've been very adamant on my time. Even when people ask me certain things, I'm like, no, I can't do that. I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be mean, but I can't do certain things because I want my time to be focused on, improving myself, which when I improve myself, for the most part, those things in turn are for a business purpose specifically. Okay. And so the first example is, one of the things that I've talked a lot about on this podcast is getting, programming going. And I've realized that I can't do all of that on my own. And so I'm working on a relationship with our company Blockheads, a partnership, with the other individuals that own that to be able to become a software developer for Age of Radio or be part owners in Age of Radio or have a partnership where they get a good chunk of the revenue that comes in from the software that they create. So that works really, really well. And so the thing that arises from that is, okay, I'm waiting for us to get some of these other things going. I need to focus on the things that I need to learn to get it to to where I want it to be. But then there is also the thing that I have my career in, which is taxes and finances and math and things that are, of that nature and accounting. And I want to do that as well. And so am making the decision to focus on two aspects in my life. And those things are becoming an enrolled agent and then also becoming, a programmer, because later on in life, I would love to teach that. I would love to teach mathematics. And so I'm trying to set myself up where I'm going to be in the future. And so that's the thing that I would say to you, if you were trying to figure out where you want to go, I would say that the first thing is figure out where you want to go and where you want to be and focus on those things. The second thing is don't get sidetracked because of the thought process of getting money. Stay true to what it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to just make money, that's fine. I get it. Then just go and do those things that are going to make you money. But there are specific things that I want to accomplish. It's more important to me to have my financial firm that is $1 million business or $1 billion business or whatever that is a financial firm, because I want to do that. That's something that I want to do. I have a way that I can solve problems within that area. I believe that I can do it better than other businesses and I can compete with them. And so that's something that I want to do. And I should have put that want above anything else and not have gotten distracted. So I say that you need to find out it is where you want to go in your life and stick to that. And in there are things that you want to do to become the best person that you can be, to be good at that thing that you're trying to accomplish. And that's the reason why I've reemphasized this emphasis on the enrolled agent thing that I started a couple of years ago and never finished because I got sidetracked with everything else that was going on. And that was my fault. And so when I think about CJV and his discipline, it inspires me because I got to be even more disciplined with even more of my time where I focus on that, right? And it becomes something that is so important to me that I make that sticking point inside of my life. Just like after this video, I'm going to make a TikTok and I'm going to make a story, because I make a TikTok and I make a story for Instagram. I'm sorry, a reel, a story, a TikTok and a reel every night around this time. And I have been doing that for the last 2 months, and it's made it consistent. Yeah, I get new followers. I get new I like doing it. I like sharing with people what I'm learning. That part's fun to me. So that would be the thing that I would say to begin to work on yourself. And then how can you be in your life things that you should be doing to be better at those things, right? And so for me, I need to be a better family person, a family member. I need to be a better husband. And I can see, and not saying that I'm a bad husband. I want to be a better husband, because if I'm able to do that thing, it then can make that other thing more powerful, right? If I, learn how to, learn multiple languages, or if I study mathematics, it'll give me a different thinking skill that'll make me a better accountant, that type of thing, right? But if I'm miserable in my life because I don't spend time with my wife, or I don't spend time with my niece, or I don't spend time with my family, or I'm not focusing on like social activities, then I can see that my life doesn't have as much meaning, because all I'm doing is focusing on this thing to what end, right? And if the end is to be able to, have more time with my wife, why would I not spend time with my wife to have it when I could have something less, but still put time with my wife right now, right? And then it makes me even that much stronger in that thing that I'm doing. So I hope that I explained that well enough. It's a little bit difficult to explain how these secondary skills or secondary things that you do in your life impact the other thing. But the point is that that you want to focus on being a better you as a person, whether that's going to bed earlier, getting up earlier, getting sleep, losing weight, practicing martial arts, spending time with friends because you're always working. Because if you do those things, you stay recharged and re-energized and you're a better self. I've talked about this in the past with 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is the concept of making sure that you take time for yourself, because if you dull yourself down, you're not going to be as sharp out doing the things that you were doing. And this is something that we don't hear enough about, because we think it's like a pussy move to take care of yourself and manage your mental health and do things that you want to do, the things that you need to do to re-energize yourself so that you can go and be more creative and be more innovative and be a better manager and be a better leader and be a better innovator in your field of what it is you were trying to do, whether that's entrepreneurship entrepreneurship, or just being a worker, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? As long as you are happy and you're doing the thing that you want to do, it doesn't matter what you're doing or how much money you have, as long, in my opinion. Now, at some point, when you get so much less money, then it does become a problem, right? Because you can't live. But if you have the money to live and do and you're happy, then the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. And you shouldn't let society tell you the rest of that, right? And so I want to reiterate, find out where it is that you want to go in life. Focus on that, even when all the other stuff happens, and don't get sidetracked on it. Just stay disciplined to it. Set time to do it. Manage that, go after it. And then secondly, take time to build a good you, right? Another example, because I want to make sure that it's you understand it, is that I don't play games enough with my friends, right? I love games. That's how I recharge. Me recharging is spending time and playing games, playing card games, playing video games, playing Dungeons and Dragons. And if I don't do that, that makes me less productive in those other areas. So making sure that you're managing that is just as important as learning the skill to get you into the future, is what I was trying to say. Okay. And that takes a lot of discipline, and you need to spend more time being disciplined. I need to spend more time being disciplined. I'm very disciplined when it comes to certain things. I'm very undisciplined when it comes to other things. Case in point, food. That's one of the things that's on my to become better at. Be better at cooking food at home. Be better at eating more nutritious. It doesn't have to be a diet. It doesn't have to be organic. It doesn't have to be anything. I just want to not eat out as much. I want to be more productive in my home, cooking my own food and own meals. And that, is something that will make me better at all those other things that I just said that I want to do. And so I would really recommend that you look at your life, take a good hard look at your life, and find out how you can be better. I'm not saying that you're bad, and I'm saying what you're doing is horrible, but just think about how can you be better? And if you did these things, how much further along in your life would you be? We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.
All right. So the second thing that I want to talk about, if you've made it this far into the podcast, the second thing that I want to talk about is information. Okay, I truly believe that one of the most important skill sets that we have moving into the future is library sciences. I know that sounds crazy, because library sciences is a weird term, but they're changing that name to informational sciences. It's essentially the cataloging of information so that it can be, found and utilized in an efficient way. Okay, that's the easiest way for me to think about it. I'm not saying that you should go out and get a degree in that. I'm just saying the point is that there's so much information that one of the most important roles in the future is organizing that information for us to retrieve it and distribute it. Okay. And that degree is informational sciences. And I believe that is going to be so important in the future that we need to really think about that as a society and how we do that and how we get better at it for generations to come along, after we're dead and gone. Okay. And so the thing is that what that tells me is we have so much information out there that we're getting, right? I spend most of my day with YouTube up. I have tons of podcasts that I like listening to. I can't even get in enough of them. I can't even consume the content that I want to consume in a day because there's just so much content that is coming after us. So the reason why I'm saying that is because we have so much content coming at us, we are not doing a thoughtful job consuming that content where we are not making ridiculous assessments about what's happening in the world. Okay, so first of all, I want to be very clear about this. I don't have any interest in God. Okay. I don't care if someone believes in God. I don't care. It doesn't make me think that they're a bad person. It doesn't make me think that they're a good person. It doesn't have any bearing in my life whatsoever to believe in God. I spent a lot of years studying that. I spent a lot of years trying to make that part of my life. And as I ventured into other areas into the world, it doesn't make sense to me to worship a God, whether or not that God exists or not. Okay. Now in Buddhism, there is an aspect of worship, right? And I don't really want to go into how they're different in certain aspects. And so my point is that I don't have a problem with people believing in a God, and I don't have people believing in a Christian God. I think believing in a Christian God tends to make people more susceptible to believing things that don't make any sense, right? And that is what I think helps lead to this lack of understanding and reading information. And I'm not saying this is with all cases. And if you're out there and you're a friend of mine and you're listening to this and you believe in God, I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care. My point is that those aren't the things that matter to me, and I will hope that those aren't the things that matter to you, for us to love and care about each other as human beings. Okay, but so I wanted to get that clear, because I believe that having the not to think critically about the Bible and the belief in God makes this next thing that I'm going to say more prevalent in Christian groups, because they don't critically think about the information that's happening in the world. And especially if they don't have, a good education, or whether that's a high school education or college education, or good parents teaching them a good education, they're more susceptible to believing things now because of the way that we consume information. So, for example, there is a video that a friend had brought to my attention about a woman getting forced to get a vaccination, or a man getting forced to get a vaccination in Australia. And this person was adamant that the Australia were forcing people to get vaccinations. Now, I don't live in Australia. Maybe that's happening. I've had business clients that are in Australia that have, when I was at the bank, that have businesses in Australia that have talked to me about it. And it's nothing what we as Americans look at. I've seen Australians, I've talked to, and so that has been the extent of my conversation with Australians or business people. So maybe this is happening in different parts of Australia. Maybe they're happening in New Zealand. I don't know that part. I'm just saying that I don't 100% know if this is true or not. But what I do know is true, based off of reading full articles about certain things, is that in this video, what's happening is a person is being, what it looks like, being forced to get a vaccination. So the police are forcing this person down, or the military, or a law enforcement are forcing this person down and injecting them. And that injection is a vaccine. Now, what's actually happening in that video is, from what I have, researched and thoroughly read news articles about it, thoroughly checked fact-checking articles on it on, Reuters. And when I look at that and I read it, then it explains that the law enforcement is suppressing someone at a rally. Now, whether or not the law enforcement over suppressed that person at a rally or not, the point is that they didn't force a vaccination onto that specific individual in the street of Australia. And that is where my problem is with how we're getting our information, is because most people will see that it will be distributed via Instagram. It'll be distributed via TikTok, and people will see that. And then they make this assumption that that is actually what is happening in this other country, without trying to get a better understanding of what it is, or going and reading something from a news source that is following the tenets of journalism and presenting factual information. And even from there, going and then double checking that information to make sure that your understanding of it is accurate and that what you read was factual. That is what we are missing in the society because of the way that we show information. And the reason why I brought up the Christian thing at the beginning is because in specific groups, mainly Christian groups, or more far right-wing Christian groups, these things even become more prevalent without any actual understanding of what is happening with what is being talked about. And then another example is recently the Inflation Act is being passed here in the United States. And in that, there is going to be 87,000 jobs that are going to be granted to the Treasury over 30 by 2031. And the way that that is being pushed on social media is that we are hiring 87,000 IRS auditors. Okay, where if you go and you read the act, or even if you go and look on CNN or Reuters or read through some of the articles that talk about this and explain the act in a way that we can understand it, right? From a factual standpoint, that is not exactly what's happening. Now, yes, do I think that that's a lot of people that they need to hire for the Treasury Department? Absolutely. When we could be using that money for a lot better things. I'm not 100% sure when the way that I think about how that really helps with the inflation piece of it, because in my mind, that's going to put more money into the economy, which is then going to create more inflation because there's more cash in the economy. So that part I didn't fully understand. So even there, I need to go and read more, right? But it would be like me not understanding that and then telling you that it's not going to do that with inflation. I don't understand it well enough to make that assessment of whether or not this is going to help inflation. But what I do know is that the 87,000 people that are going to be hired by 2031 for the Treasury Department is not going to be 87,000 IRS auditors. And that sounds like a ridiculous amount of IRS auditors, right? So there's even a problem there that we need to go and look at. Okay. And people don't look at that and think, okay, does this make sense? Is this the real information? I saw this on TikTok, but I'm going to go and repost it on TikTok. And that's where the problem is. And this is one of the main points of where I am confused about how we go about getting better information. And it leads me to a few things. I'm not saying don't believe in God, don't be a Christian or anything like that. My point is that it seems to be the far right Christian radicalized groups tend to push this information, falsify this information more. And it's unfortunately because they have the capacity to believe in the things that are happening in the Bible as a real thing is higher in them. So it's easier for them to take in information and not try to factually check it or to logically think about it, right? Because the thing is if we could sit on another podcast from the time that I was studying to go into theology, and I can show you point by all kinds of points in the Bible that don't make any logical sense. And that's not even coming from the philosophical sense of whether or not God can be, all the things that God says that he can, like omnipotent or omnibenevolent, and then cause all of that pain. Because if we're going to classify God as omnibenevolent, which is all loving, right, or all good, then how can he do those horrible, horrible things? You can't have the qualities of all goodness and then have the ability to wipe out cities or destroy people or to kick people out of a garden because someone disobeyed you, right? And so, or, I don't mean to say right at the end of that, but right? When you can say no, well, because of this, this, and this, and those things don't make any sense. I'm not saying that you shouldn't believe in God, right? I'm just saying be logical about the understanding of the things that we claim that God has, because God may not have those things and God could still be real, right? But then we find all these other contradictions. And the point being is that then when you have people that choose to blindly believe those things, then it's easy for them to blindly believe a bunch of other things. And that's where my problem is, right? As I go into things of the religious context, I look at the things that could be factual, or I can look at things from a pragmatical way and say, how can this make my life better in this without it being a truthful thing? And if it's not a truthful thing, then there might be something else that is making this thing happen. And I want to understand that. And that is what causes people, right? Not being able to do that is what causes people to then look at information, not want to research it more, and not try to critically think about it, and not try to create it into a factual way of looking at something. And that's what I think that is frustrating me about how I'm looking at the world. But not looking at the world, but how I'm looking at people look at the world. And that's why it saddens me that we are living in a world that believes in everything that we see on social media without us going and listening to something that talks about it or explains it, or going and researching something that talks about it and explains it. And I think one of the best things that we can do is look at philosophy, because philosophy helps us critical think, understanding philosophy, looking at different viewpoints of things. And one of the things, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me because we spend so much time talking about people not looking at the news, not watching the news because it's all anger and sadness. Okay, yeah, that's fine. The television news, yeah, but look thoughtfully at a newspaper. Go deep into a newspaper. Don't look at this shit on the front. Go deep into a newspaper. Read a full article. Go in and dive deep into every week. Get the Economist magazine mailed to you. Go and buy the Financial Times. Buy the Atlantic. Buy even if you are more of a right wing, go and fully find papers that are being distributed right in a full way, not just on the internet, where there's full good journalism being pushed out that you could read, look at, and understand. And you might get a better understanding of what these people believe that are pushing it. And if that continues to be your belief, then all for you. You did the thing that I said. I'm proud of you. And I believe that you really, really, truly, truly believe that. And to you, that's an accurate thing. And I'm cool with that. But what I don't want to see is people not even questioning the thing because they see it. They don't go and question it. They don't go try to understand it. They don't try to get a point to understand the point of view of the person that's writing it. And then they go on and share it with a bunch of people. And that is the problem that I'm seeing in the world. And that's the problem that I'm seeing when it can be fixed really, really easily by slowing back down, taking more time to understand things, looking at things more thoughtfully, and making assessments of them, right? I think that, there's all these tips and tricks about how to read faster, learn faster, be faster, do more, consume more content. And I don't think that that's what is going to make us any better. I think what that's going to do is make us have different clips of things, not fully understand what's happening in the thing that we are learning about, and then go and sharing that, and then creating more and more false information that then gets distributed throughout the throughout the internet, throughout social media, that then creates to cause lots of falsity that then just gets continued over and over and over again. And that is something that I really hope to help solve or teach about or educate people on into the future. Because we need to be more thoughtful about the information that we consume, and we need to do a lot better job understanding it. So I leave you with this. I just ask you to go and find a newspaper that you like and buy the Wednesday version of it or the Sunday version, and take an hour out of your week, sit down and fully read it to understand what's happening in the world. It'll have a massive amount of benefit for you, not just on the things that I just talked about, but it'll help you be open and more critical to different points of view, right? Or more open to different points of view, maybe more critical about your own points of view, right? You'll learn something new every day. It'll slow things down. You might be able to distinguish truth from falsehoods a lot better. You can enhance your creativity. You can help understand new people, new events, have a better understanding of the world. And then if you still choose to believe the things that you believe, go and disseminate it or distribute it all that you want, wherever you want it to be. But at least you did the thing that I think that'll help solve some of this. And that's all that I ask. I think that the news and the media is trying to do a good thing, but I don't think that we're taking that thing and understanding it. And even some of the big news medias, they do a horrible job pushing out this information and not telling you exactly what it is that they're talking about. So you see part of the headline and then you go and share that without deep diving in that headline and getting a full understanding of it. Because the fact is that there's so much fucking information out there that we cannot consume it all. So we need to be more selective in what we consume. So go and get that Wednesday or Sunday paper, spend some time reading it this week, or go find a really good news magazine. I like the New Yorker, the Atlantic, New York Times, Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, Arizona Republic, because I'm in Arizona. And, Arizona Republic can be very, right-leaning because our state's super, super right-leaning. And that doesn't bother me at all. That's the point of reading information and being more thoughtful about it so you can understand it better. So remember, be thankful, grateful, and kind. We will talk with you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to The Age of Jeremy. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcatcher. If you can do me a favor, please rate this podcast if your podcatcher allows you to. Talk to you soon.